Hello, so in this video I'm going to talk about if you're migrating from a version of the framework up to 4.3 or later and you want to use the new layout manager. So by default here you're going to look down here and see global layout manager is off. As soon as you turn that on and then hit save and then reload your page, you're going to find that you're going to have a layout editor here. But once you've done that as well, you're switching all your pages over to be using the new system. So there's going to be a little bit of tweaking that you're going to need to do. So by default, what's going to happen is if your page previously used the home page layout, it's going to now use the primary layout by default. If your page previously used the team members layout, again, you're going to be using a default layout but with team members applied to it. So what we're going to do here is the system is going to detect what you probably would have used as far as a layout and then apply you to use the right layout now. Um, the nice thing is that you're still going to have the content in the middle of the page, but you're going to want to go through each one of your pages to make sure that it's now laid out the way that you want to. So keep in mind that when you go and flip that switch, you're going to probably get a bunch of different items in pages as we would typically expect them to look when you go to install it the first time. So for example, your layout editor, it's going to install these layouts for you. Okay, these were not layouts that were necessarily existing when you went and purchased the theme the first time. These are brand new to the system. The photo slideshow is going to be pretty much the same. The primary is going to be just like our homepage layout, except it's going to be reset to defaults. Okay, and then the contact page is going to probably be very similar here. We have included a couple new contact layouts where you have the map on the left-hand side of the content or the map on the right-hand side of the content, and so that's a new option available for you. We have a minimize layout, which is what we might have called the default layout in your version of the framework. Um, and it's a very simple page layout that most pages in your site would use. We have a minimize 2L. You're going to see 2L means that it's a 2-column with the sidebar on the left. 2R is going to be a 2-column with the sidebar on the right. If you like a 3-column, you can certainly go and do that. I'm going to go into more detail in the layout editor specific tutorial. This is just about migrating, okay? But you're going to want to make sure that you check all of your pages. So in those pages, they're going to be, if there's no associated layout for whatever reason, it's going to default to that layout which is set as default. Okay, so you can actually copy this layout and create your own if you don't want to muck with that one, and then set it as the default, and then go from there. Okay. Um, but what you want to do is take a look at each one of these layouts. You can go and hit edit, and then go in there and maybe rearrange some of the rows if you like, or add additional sidebars and so on and so forth. And where am I going with this? Oh yes, and then you also want to then go to all of your pages here. So do a browse through your website. Does it look right? Well, you're probably going to need to focus in on the default layout or the minimized layout, as well as the home page. Everything else is probably going to be fairly boilerplate. You probably wouldn't have changed too much of the layout. You would have just changed the widgets. Which is also where you're going to come down to here, is that we're not relying so much as on sidebars and widgets within those sidebars anymore. We're going to have a left and a right sidebar that you can add to, but you could also create additional sidebars just by going to the manage sidebars or add sidebars option here. Keep in mind that when you upgrade from the old version of the framework to this version of the framework, it's going to keep all of your sidebars, all the existing sidebars there. So you might need to go in to configure these pages and make sure that there's a sidebar applied appropriately. In any case, I'm going to go to the About Us page here. Okay, as you can see here, the About Us page is not using the team members page layout because we no longer have that. We have a minimized layout that when we're on the minimized layout, we choose the content to be the team members themselves, which is essentially where we allow there to be content as well as some sort of portfolio of all the team member custom post types. Okay, so you're going to want to go through here and say, hey, this page, is it using the right page type? Default is just content, content only. Blog is, well, obviously blog. FAQs is for displaying FAQs. We used to have an FAQs layout specifically. Now we have a minimized layout, or you can choose to be a minimized two-column right or two-column left, and choose to use the content of whatever it is that you want displayed there. Okay, so for the sitemap, well, you have a little bit of you have the option of having content as well as the sitemap items there. Ooh, looks like we have a little bug there that we still need to polish up here. And so for team members, again, it's the team member settings, FAQs, again, FAQ settings here. But by default, the team members actually should be the team members here. And again, you can choose any one of these layouts here. Typically, for the team members, you're not going to be using a contact layout. Contact layouts are for the contact page, obviously. Primary is going to be for the home page. But of course, you can go and create your own layouts however you see fit. So make sure you go through each one of your pages. Say, hey, is this how I want it to look? Okay. Then go to that page, say, all right, which layout do I have it applied to? Oh, it's set to the minimize. Oh, I want it to actually be a two-column with a right sidebar. So select this layout here. So, and I'll just briefly show you here. If I go to the About Us page, about the team, okay, this is a one-column right. So we're going to switch to a two-column with a sidebar on the right. We hit update. Okay, and then we go over here and we wait for that to finish loading, and then we hit reload. So there you go. So that's the one with the right sidebar. And if we said, you know what, I don't want that. I want it to be using the layout with the left sidebar. That's not a problem. We say, all right, use the left sidebar. Okay. Save that and reload, and boom. Here we are. This is the left sidebar. And where is the left sidebar defined again? That's under Appearance and then Widgets. You're going to find the sidebars defined there, and you can add or change your different settings for your widgets there. So that's the migration crash course. If you find that things are just not working for you, for whatever reason, you could try to migrate back. Usually, once you go this route, we have not tested going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, or even back and forth even once. Generally speaking, the settings for the individual layouts are not being saved. So if you would have previously had your layouts out defined here, once you hit save on a page, if you're making the changes for this page, and you hit save, you're like, I just don't like how this framework, this new version of the layout manager is working. I want to go back. Technically speaking, you could go back by going to Control Panel and then turning that off. However, if you've overwritten the settings for the layout on a page-by-page basis, like say we're just on the About Us page, there's no guarantee that the settings for your layout in the previous version of the framework are going to stick. So you might have to redo that page. So I encourage you to use this version of the Layout Manager. It's really awesome. It's way more flexible, way more powerful, way easier to use because you're having a global layout that you can apply just like that to a whole schwack of pages. Whereas before you'd have to go page by page by page to make sure you've got the look and feel how you want it. And this is really the dream that we had for, not even, this is really what we had envisioned when we first did our framework back when we started version 4 of the framework, how we wanted things to work. And we tried a couple different things, and over the course of time here we really decided this is the way that we wanted it to work. We've now gone and designed it, and we really think everybody should take advantage of it because it is just the easiest thing to use. Because once you've got your layout set up through the layout editor, and you say you wanted to change 20 pages and just change the look of 20 pages at once, you can do that by just, whatever pages whatever layouts those pages are applied to, you can make a change to your entire site very, very quickly. All right. I hope you enjoy that, and it gives you some insight as to whether or not to proceed or not, and what you need to do.